imagine it's 1917 and you've been slaving away for hours, slowly laying brick after brick. Your back and knees are aching, but that won't damage the sense of pride you feel. Each brick you lay is one step closer to coming into the new age. For almost 100 years, the brick road on 2nd Avenue has been a part of Benton's history. Very few people realize this, and now for most, it is just a nuisance to drive over each morning. Should we do something about it? To show you all what I mean by this, I'm going to talk about the history of the brick road, the condition it's in now, and what I think and what some of our community members think should be done about it. The brick road on 2nd Avenue was, actually it was brick road everywhere, but mainly now it's just 2nd Avenue, was hand laid in 1917, and there's been minimal maintenance done to it in the last 100 years. However, due to the fact that not much has been done to it, that might be why it's in the condition it is in now. The north end has been redone. That's the side that's slightly less bumpy than the other side. But the south end is still in fairly bad condition. It has ruts, holes, craters. It's bad. Sadly, the condition it is in now is why community members feel that it's the bother instead of appreciating the major part of our town's history that it is. My personal opinion of the brick road is it's pretty. Yes, I do appreciate it for its appearance, but I do feel like it needs to be re-bricked because I don't think that we should lose that part of the history, but it causes a lot of damage to vehicles. I surveyed 8 people, and they were all adults. 5 of the 8 said that they were for re-bricking it. 2 were strongly against the brick at all and said to pave it, and 1 said that it would depend on the cost. The community members that I interviewed, the first one was my mom, Rose Wilson, and she said that the brick road doesn't bother her, it just depends on the cost of what it would cost to re-brick it and then what the cost would be to pave it, and whichever one was cheaper she said to go for. And her definition of old was anything from the past that changed the course of history. And because of that, she doesn't feel like the brick road is historic because it never necessarily changed history itself, but it's old, so people think that it's historic. The next person was Julie Long, who's my mom's assistant, and she has a personal opinion of the brick road. She said that her dad labored and worked on it when she was little, so it means a lot to her personally, plus it's really pretty. She's for re-bricking as long as the bricks are reused and it doesn't change the look of the road. So she still wants the same bricks that have been used for the past 100 years. She wants it to keep the same look, but she does feel like it needs to be changed or updated. And she says that it's a part of history because it's what Benton had years and years ago when they first started paving roads, and it leaves the character of the time that's gone by. The next person that I interviewed is Mr. Upmeyer's personal favorite. That's Rich Farmer. And he used to be a teacher here, and the first thing I'm going to talk about is his protest in 1989, and that was in the summer. It was in June, I believe, and this is a bad picture. It's not a bad picture, it's bad quality of the picture, but that right there is Mr. Farmer, and this is Mr. Elwick, and that's John Watson. And what they did was, in the middle of the day, Mr. Farmer found out that they were going to pave the stretch of the brick road that is next to the library, so that part that we go over every time we go to the library. And he decided that that was unbelievable because it is such a part of our history, and he is a part of the historical board, so he feels very strongly about that. And he and the 2 other gentlemen drove their vehicles and parked in the middle of the road for 2 hours and stood there, and they ended up having to call the police officers, and Mr. Farmer said to them, if you're going to pave this road, you have to arrest me first. And they ended up moving to a different area and repaving a different area, but it's the fact that he was willing to be arrested to save that one part of the brick road that's pretty amazing. And he's for re-bricking it, but he would hate to see it paved because he's put in he's put in so much into it. Next person I interviewed was Jason Glider, and he feels very strongly about it, and I actually had to moderate what he said. He said that something historic is something you look back on fondly, and in his words, I asked him what his opinion of the brick road was, and a revised version of what he said is, "It is the biggest pile of crap ever devised by man. It is rutted, pitted, ruined, stupid, and it broke my van." He said, "Do not re-brick it, pave it, concrete is an amazing thing." And I asked him why it's historic, and he said it's not. "I don't look back on it fondly. There are a few things that have improved with technology." There are a few more people that I have asked about it, but they all said re-bricking as well. I asked Ms. Cox, Ms. Helms, and Mrs. Hessen. And then I asked Mr. Erickson, and Rick Erickson is a member of the street cleanup. He's part of the city workers. And he said that the brick roads wear forever, but they're extremely expensive to maintain. And he is actually for paving them, because rebricking is a major headache to do and to fix. And he said that the brick road is historic because it's old, and to get funding it's historic because it's an original road of the town. Mr. Erickson talked to me a little about the funding that they received for the rebricking. Like I said earlier, they rebricked the north part of the road, and he said that they received a grant from the state, but the money was needed for other situations like the flooding and then the storm of 2011. And he actually said that they're going to continue rebricking, but they won't start until they've saved enough money, because they can't start and then stop halfway through, like a block. But they are planning to go down all the way to 13th with the brick. In conclusion, you can see by the history of the brick road, the condition it's in now, in my personal opinion, and the opinion of a select few community members, the brick road on 2nd Avenue is a part of our town's history, and there's something we can do about it to keep it a part of our history without it being a major nuisance. So next time you drive over the brick road on 2nd Avenue and you grumble a little to yourself, know there's a plan for the future, and our history will not be forgotten.